Hi, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are continuing Band of Brothers. This is episode 9, and it is titled Why We Fight. And this is one of the episodes that people have been warning us about ever since we started this little journey. Besides the episodes with, the Battle of the Bulge, episodes 6 and 7, they were tough ones. This one is going to be... there may be some tears that you just alluded to with you got the tissues ready and everything. But yeah, before we start the episode, we have a couple of things we want to talk about. You can take the first one.
Well, my back is acting up a little bit, so if I move around a lot or look like I'm in pain, it's just because I am.
Yes, and it has nothing to do with the fact that, what's going on the screen. It is tough to watch, and sometimes we look away and we cringe and stuff like that. But it's not because we don't like what we're seeing or we don't want to watch the show. And speaking of watching and maybe continuing watching something like this, we've talked about it a couple of times with some of you people in the comments and on Patreon and. I think we've mentioned something in some of our streams. But yeah, anyway, we've been pretty adamant about, the two of us that we're not going to be watching and reacting to the Pacific together on this channel. And it's also has something to do with the fact that you are, you have limited time to do this and you are looking for a full-time job. You are working on trying to get one at the moment. And now that the country's opening up again and you are hopefully going to go to job interviews and stuff like that. But even though Kat can't be a part of the Pacific reactions, someone else is able to, step in and be a part of them. And you've already seen him. It's my father. He was with us in episode 6 or reacting to episode 6 of Band of Brothers. And he's going to be there for the entirety of the Pacific. And also the little documentary that kind of works as an episode 11 in Band of Brothers. We're going to be watching that on Patreon. And when we've done that, we're going to be starting the Pacific. And those are going to be on YouTube as well, of course. So I hope that's all right with you guys, that it's going to be me and my father talking about, the Pacific. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot of stories and a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of information. And exactly. So I'm looking forward to that, at least. But with all that out of the way, I think we're just going to jump into the episode. And you can, of course, always check out our full-length reactions for Band of Brothers and all the other shows that we are watching on our Patreon page. The link is down in the description below. And here we go.
The only good crowd is a dead one. Well, but there was something in there that, hey, that was a kid. Most of them were kids. We all were kids.
They had a job to do the same way as me.
That man and I might have been good friends. We might have had a lot in common. We might have liked to fish, he might have liked to hunt. Under different circumstances, we might have been good friends.
Yeah. Just starting out with the freaking violins, and you're already like, oh, fuck.
All he needs is a little Mozart.
Beethoven.
Sorry, sir?
That's not Mozart. That's Beethoven.
Oh.
Grab him by the foot. Come on. All right, this thing bites me, Frank. I swear I'll shoot it.
No.
Hey, come on. I just want to talk to you.
Hey, Luz, why don't you leave her alone?
Frank, why don't you just leave me alone, okay? Hey, Frank. Hold on. Fuck. Jesus, come on.
Lost you.
It's been a while, I get it.
Yeah. You saw an opportunity, but nah, man. Nah, man. Fucking punched
what
you?
happened? No dice with the Fraulein?
No dice. She smacked me in the mouth.
Oh, okay. Hey, it's Tom Hardy.
It is?
It fucking is. The very young Tom Hardy.
Very young. Oh, yeah. Shit.
Sir! Where's my stop? I thought I'd leave it over there, sir.
Young,
That
very
was,
skinny looking,
yeah.
at least compared to...
Double salute there?
Double salute.
Took a direct hit over the drop zone. I got out, 2 others got out.
The rest of the boys?
Well, they blew up over Germany somewhere. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
About what?
Well, tough situation.
Oh,
for
yeah,
you.
the boys. Yeah. It's terrible. Oh, well, it wasn't me.
Empty.
Guess who gets to write all the letters home? God, I got a nightmare.
Okay, I get it. Next. Yeah.
Smells sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Oh, Keith, you're sitting in your bayonet there? Why don't you leave the singing to Luz?
Hey, O'Brien. Shut up.
O'Keefe. Told you, it's O'Keefe.
Do you understand that this is the best part of fucking what I've seen? I even got to wipe my ass with real toilet paper today. So quit asking about when you're gonna see some action, will you? And stop with the fucking love songs.
Tough love.
Yeah.
I'll call you two. Oh, I can't believe we're not gonna drop into Berlin.
Out of boot.
No shit.
Nix.
300,000 Krauts just surrendered.
300.
Yeah, we're moving out in an hour.
Sir, your mail.
Can't you drink it? Then forget about it.
Keep looking. Jesus Christ, the dog? Look. Katz is divorcing me.
Oh no.
And she's taking the dog?
Taking the kid.
The kid?
Taking the dog. It's not even her dog. It's my dog. She's taking my dog.
Fuck, man. Nix is really struggling.
Yeah.
Adios. Let me see that lighter.
That near Berlin, sir? That's in Bavaria, birthplace of National Socialism. So that mean no dropping in Berlin?
Webster dropping knowledge.
What?
Lighter.
Lighter.
All right, nice lighter.
Thanks. Well, how that says, huh? Hey, looks like gonna get you wish anyway, Flannery, those guys.
Flannery. Pretty.
He hates that dog. It's about why we're fighting the war. Why are we fighting the war, Janovic? It seems that the Germans are bad. Very bad. Hey, Frank, this guy's reading an article over here that says the Germans are bad.
So what about you, Web? All this time you've been talking about Harvard this and Harvard that, and you ain't even finished?
For one thing, I haven't told you anything.
Oh,
Yes, I haven't finished. So the fuck what?
it's just the way you always talk, you know? We all figured that...
Yes.
You know what? You're right. Should have fuck what?
Whoa.
Dragging our asses halfway around the world, interrupting our lives for what? You ignorant, servile scum! What the fuck are we doing here? Huh?
Kind of reminds you of Bastogne.
Except, of course, there's no snow. We got warm grub in our bellies. And the trees aren't fucking exploding from Kraut artillery, but yeah. Bull, smack him for me, please. Thank you.
He just wants some whiskey.
Sure is quiet.
He is right, fellas.
Too quiet. What did they see?
He's running back.
What? Frank, what is it?
I don't know, sir.
What did they find?
I think I know.
Concentration camp? Oh no. Is this why it's hot?
I think so.
Yeah, and you even got the stars. Oh god.
All right, boys. These people need care. Give them water and any spare rations you might have. Grab me some blankets, quick.
Dick?
Okay. Hey, boy.
Die Wachen haben das Lager heute Morgen verlassen.
You said the guards left this morning, sir. And they burned some of the huts first.
Mit den Gefangenen immer noch drinnen. Lebend.
Well, the prisoner's still in him, sir.
Why are they here?
Was ist das hier? He says it's a work camp for unwanted, disliked, maybe.
Criminals?
Doctors, musicians,
Schreiber, Schneider,
tailors,
Intellektuelle.
clerks, farmers, intellectuals, I mean normal people.
Juden. Juden.
And he's a Jew, right?
Jews.
Polen. Zigeuner. Das ist das Frauenlager bei der nächsten Bahnstation.
Women's camp is at the next railroad stop. Look at their arms.
Got numbers.
Like cattle.
Okay. He's done.
Sie doch sofort wieder zurück! Das ist ja nicht Frauenrecht!
Take it off.
Er muss wieder zurückbringen! Das gehört uns hier!
Shut up, you Nazi fuck!
Ich bin kein Nazi.
How about a human being? Are you one of those? Or are you gonna tell me that you never smelled the fucking stench?
Töten Sie mich nicht, bitte. Verstehe nicht, was Sie da sagen.
Webby says he doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Bullshit.
We need to stop giving these men food right now. They're starving. We give them too much to eat too quickly, they'll eat themselves to death. We need to keep them in the camp till we can find a place for them in town.
Can't tell him that, sir.
Got to, Joe.
Grant, Christensen, these prisoners have to be put back in the camp immediately. Let the men know.
Es ist nur für eine kurze Zeit.
It's for your own best, but they're not gonna. They've been in this nightmare for years and years. That
Locals claim that they never even knew the camp existed.
Well, they're gonna have a hell of an education tomorrow.
Turkey, sir?
What? No, thanks.
Hitler's dead.
Holy shit.
Shot himself in Berlin.
Should have killed himself 3 years ago. Saved us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he should have. But he didn't.
And that was episode 9, Why We Fight. And I think it was not, tough in the way that you or we were expecting.
No, not really, no.
But as soon as it dawned on us what they were talking about, when Frankie went back and he was like, we found something. And then immediately, seeing the gates and the people standing there behind them and what they were wearing and the state of this camp. Of course we knew what it was, concentration camps and something that we of course know, and it's very well known now after the fact, what happened before and during the war, and what Hitler and the Nazis did to millions and millions of people. But they did not know that at this time. Like some they probably did and all that, but it wasn't like a widely known thing, especially amongst the soldiers, and we see their reaction to it.
But I think that's the purpose of this, and that's what they intended to do with this, and especially why we're first seeing it here in episode 9.
Yeah,
because we know this, and I think approximately everyone knows.
Yeah.
This happened, but they didn't before this point in time, and I think because we go into this and we know we know what's going on, and
I made a comment about it in the first or second episode or something where it was like, what do you think you're fighting for? And
and I think most people know all about this when they start out the series, and if they haven't seen it, and they have this sort of background knowledge, but they're kind of making it a point that they didn't know up until this point. And that's why they're showing it at this point, because to kind of really hammer the point down, that the reason why we fight, or it's because it's called Why We Fight, but of course the reason why they fought this war was of the bad things and how the Jews and other minorities were persecuted back then, and what the Nazis tried to achieve with this war. And they also said, I think the whole setup with this and trying to say, well, Germans are probably just like us, and I think most Germans are and were just
of course. Yeah.
And of course they're just trying to get on with their day and everything, but of course there was this very vocal part of Germany, those Nazis, that wanted to do all these bad things.
Yeah. They had a clear agenda, and Hitler had a clear agenda, and he was able to kind of weave that into the politics of the country and getting people on his side more and more, and it's his rise to power is also well documented and all that, and it is pretty much after the fact that the entire world, and including many Germans as well, as they alluded to in this episode, found out what he really did and what he really stood for and how he really treated these people, and all the Jews, all the intellectuals, and everybody he did not want as his part of his Germany and his worldview and everything, all that horribleness, and then the world saw, and that is exactly like you say. They're really showing us that in this episode is just this switch, and we even got Tom Hardy's character, Jovanovic.
Janovic?
Yeah, Janovic or something. He was reading an article about the Germans are bad, and that has just been the underlying narrative so far, is just, we are fighting Germany, they're bad, Germans are bad, period, kind of deal. and we then start to see in this episode, and then talking about it, and got some of it at the start of the episode with, you know, the differences between American soldiers and German soldiers. A lot of the time, probably not, you know, that big of a difference, you know, what they were talking about there. So it really just, this episode really just works to, you know, open the eyes of the soldiers and the people in the country and the whole world, just slowly realizing, you know, all the aspects of this war and exactly why we fight.
And why we should fight.
And why we should fight. Exactly.
Happen again.
Exactly. Like why we should fight stuff like this. It should really be a very important lesson that the world should have learned by now. But yeah, not gonna get into
that.
Not gonna talk about what's going on in the world right now. We're focusing on the past right now. But man, yeah, this was tough to watch, really, and it's hard to, you know, keep the emotions down and the tears down and everything, and I definitely teared up a little bit a couple of times there, and I'm sure you did too.
I very visibly did.
Yeah.
And these are the images that we've all been fed. At least I can't speak for others and myself, of course, but every time we talk about like World War II and Nazis and everything, these are the images that are straight just pop into our consciousness.
Yes.
And to think that this was hidden for so long.
Exactly.
Throughout the whole war, basically.
Mm.
And seeing these horrible things happening to people for the sole purpose of them being born to certain people and being born and raised into like a specific religion.
Yeah, or just they have a certain profession, or they just have they're just being human people. They're just being different, like an individual.
No, they're not even being different. They're just being.
No, they're just they're just being different compared to what Hitler wants. But you know, that is, you know, being a human being is like we're all different, and we all want different things and different cultures and way of life, and and that is why I think, like, you know, as you said, it is seared into our brains, into our memory. Like when we think of World War II, why did it happen? Like why did we fight back? Why did the Allies fight back? Why was it so important to topple this horrible dictator? Then we immediately think of the concentration camps and how he treated the Jews and everything there. But they just found out. So yeah.
Up until this point, it has been like a them and us thing, and they've just been fed this. Well, all Germans are bad, and we have to fight Germany, and they're just these Nazis are bad and stuff like that. And of course, we know what happened, but them not knowing and certainly finding out just how bad the Nazis were, or you know, the bad Nazis. I'm not saying that all Nazis necessarily were
equally bad,
or
this was
exactly.
the SS and you know, the worst of the worst. But yeah,
I think there was a very striking scene to also kind of explain the German side of this. We saw this woman in a red coat, and once again, it's a Spielberg,
the red coat,
Spielberg production in that way that all colors have been kind of toned down, but her red coat and her red lips were kind of, you know,
very, very visible.
Very visible, yeah. And we saw that she had this photo of her husband, and he was pretty clearly an SS agent.
Yeah,
like
high-ranking SS officer or something to that extent.
And her just, we saw her later on trying to scoop these Jews.
Yeah, that's
the Jews.
Exactly.
And it felt like, you know what I mean. As she was working there, we definitely, I think I saw a little bit of guilt, or at least some sort of bad conscience, having, you know, supported her husband and probably not even knowing what exactly he was doing and what he was fighting for. And of course, I think a lot of us can be very blinded by our governments or our leaders.
What they're telling
What
us,
they're telling us.
what they aren't telling us.
Exactly.
It's a little, different today because information is everywhere and all the time. But
Yeah,
back
but at least
then,
back in the day, I think it was very hard to exactly know with the leaders and everything, because they were all scheming behind our backs, and it was just like a sense of patriotism, I guess, that made people want to fight for these, or like of misinformation, or like
Yeah. Whatever it was that made the people decide to join the Nazis and everything.
But
Like there must have been something.
They were not being told the whole truth.
No.
They just thought they were fighting for their countries, while they were actually fighting for something very horrible, at least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And and it just goes to show that, well, we can't always know the true crimes of, well,
until everything's said and done,
Yeah.
or until
sometimes
maybe.
we need some retrospect to understand the
Yeah. We always gain knowledge in retrospect, and when you look back at stuff, and it's easier to be like, oh, okay, that's why that happened, and that's why that happened. And but I think that the scene that you brought up, or the two scenes, with that woman Nix at first, going into her home just looking for alcohol like he did for like a lot of this episode, and Nix, he was just really struggling in general in this one, and poor guy losing his wife and his kid and his fucking dog.
Yeah. And she didn't even like it.
No, damn. But yeah, this woman at first, when she saw him in her house, she was kind of judging him and like being like,
Get
what
out
are
of
you doing?
here.
Get out of here. And he was kind of, I think he was feeling a little bit guilty in a sense, and you could see that, okay, like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but then he saw her later and the roles were kind of reversed, and she was the guilty one, the one kind of looking down and being like, I have some shit to work on here. So it was just a interesting parallel.
And yeah, we really saw people struggling in this one. We definitely
Yes.
saw Nixon. Of course, we've known for a while that he was a drinker.
Yeah.
But it seems like he alluded to his only specific brand of whiskey at a certain point. And when he couldn't find more of that, I
Yeah.
think was this after he was in that German woman's house that he said he was just going for local now. That he just kind of gave up on
I think he
finding
just gave up. Yeah. He was really being like trying to find his brand and even breaking into a drugstore, which probably shouldn't have done.
No, but I just think it was, of course, the alcohol was a way of coping, and that
Of course
just
it is,
kind of it took, kind of swept him away, and he became an addict, and that was
Yeah.
also very sad to see that kind of effects on people.
Yeah, and of course it's gonna have a huge effect, like everything they've been through already, and then them coming to a realization, like what's been going on, kind of behind the scenes, if you could call it that. And yeah, as you said, we saw many of them kind of break down, leap gut, having to talk with a lot of these people in the camp, and having to. That was really tough, like
Yeah.
having to tell them, no, you need to go back now,
'Cause
and we need to lock you up again. And they, of course, like they're just focusing on, oh shit, okay, this nightmare is not over. This was too good to be true. And don't blame them for thinking that. But it is, for the better, so that they can monitor them and make sure their vitals are okay, and give them food, just, the right amounts, and medicine and all of that. But you could still see how it affected him, telling them
They
to
could be lying
go
as
back.
well.
Exactly. And then also someone like O'Keefe, who we just, got to know in this episode, new replacement once again. He really wanted to see some action. He wanted to see some shit. And I'm very certain this is not what he was
No.
expecting, or what he, thought he was going into here at all. And he was just... Yeah, he just broke down in the end. And Frank as well, he was like, yeah, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let him sit there, because, fuck.
And even Webster. he also kind of...
He got angry.
Yeah.
He got real fucking angry at the Germans, or not the Germans, the Nazis. Sorry, I'm doing it as well. But yeah, the Nazis. And the baker, who was like, he was insisting, I'm not a Nazi, but like Webster, he was just like, fucking bullshit, you didn't know what was happening in your backyard, essentially. Like, he was real angry about this shit, like what has gone down, and the whole, like, if only Hitler had killed himself 3 years ago, he said there towards the end, or if only someone had known about this. But yeah, it's all in retrospect now. But I get the anger, I totally do. But anyway, I guess we're retreading a lot of ground here. So unless you have anything else you want to add to this one.
Webster was we definitely saw Webster was being more of a Mr. Know-it-all in this one, I'd say, because I don't think we've seen that side of him, because somebody explained in the comments that he was actually being seen as a know-it-all by the other soldiers.
Yeah, why they didn't really like him, and why they were also being so tough on him in the previous episode.
Yeah, but we saw why now. And kind of seeing how they also cut him a bit of slack. At least Liebgott kind of cut him a little bit of slack, because he found out that he's actually not done with his education yet.
Yeah, and then you got that, like, oh, and you've been talking so much about your education and blah blah blah. How about this? How about that? And he's like, no, I haven't said a word to you about it. Like, it's all gossip. It's all you guys.
Yeah.
So that was a interesting little detail there. But that's gonna do it for this reaction and review of Band of Brothers episode 9, Why We Fight. We got one more left to go. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.